Hello everyone.
Hello everybody.
So I am Dredgion, community manager for Aion France, and I will be asking the questions today. And who are you?
Yeah, I'm Galeas, as written here. I'm the community manager for the English community mostly, but same as you, we also take care of the communication, like in general, organizing news and things like that together with the team, and we are basically working on a daily basis with the team, so that's who we are. All right, should we start?
Yeah, let's go. So very first, Aion Classic has been around for a lot of time, at least in Korea and later on in America. How comes it took so long for us to get some news, like to confirm we will have it in Europe? What happened during these last 2 years?
Yeah, that's a question I saw almost every day on Discord while YouTube we were working the same stuff.
See it.
Yeah, there are reasons for that. So let's start with that, with the beginning, and then we will move forward to other topics. Basically what happened is that when Korea released Aion Classic, they started the discussion with us right away, of course, if we were interested, and other regions, not only us. The major blocker at the very beginning, and since until now, more or less, was that Aion Classic in Korea is running on a specific platform that belongs to NC, right? They cannot send us this platform, it belongs to them, we cannot use it. And we are running Aion on a different platform. And it was impossible to just get the client and make it run like that. It had to be integrated to that platform. So we had to basically discuss with them a lot. Yeah. Our devs, their devs, a lot of back and forth, you know, like giving specifications and so that we can make both platforms communicate and that we can integrate their client into our own stuff and have a running version. From the get-go, we always had the will to get Aion Classic, as we said multiple times. They also wanted to help us doing that, but they couldn't dedicate the whole time just for that. Course. You know, and that's why other regions got it before. Well, for instance, in NA, it's because in their case, they already had this NC platform.
Yeah, because it's also NC who takes care
exactly.
of America.
It's the same company, let's say, to simplify, even if it's a bit more complex than that. So yeah, that's basically the background stuff about what happened. But yeah, that was basically the main point of friction. And also, of course, we didn't want to start working on stuff before we would be sure that
and
it
of course
would be
we
running.
didn't want to say it will happen when we weren't sure it would happen. So
exactly, now we know it's gonna happen. That's for sure.
That's why now we announced and we are doing this live and everything.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that's it for the bit of context of what happened before and everything.
So now we will talk about the version of Aion Classic. What version will we have?
Yeah, so most important topic of the evening. Everyone is listening, I know. What we announced so far, like when we had the first news, is that we would get Aion 2.0. First, I want to explain why we made this decision, like before going a bit more into the details. Basically, choosing that version was something we decided together with NCSoft, mostly based on their recommendations, on the experience they had from releasing the game in their region and other regions. They thought that 2.0 is a way more stable version, and there was way less bugs than the previous ones. And also the second main point, I would call it that way, is that it's also more friendly,
more
for
user-friendly.
Everybody, let's say. Let's call it that way. Of course, the most hardcore people, they really love 1.x. Amazing for them. They like the grinding and everything. But the evaluation from NC, also from their releases in other regions, was that they were losing a lot of the other people.
Yeah, because
of that.
It's not the same mindset we had a long time ago. We can't spend the whole day just grinding.
That's basically it. I mean, most of the Aion players, well, the ones that played Classic back then, we have, 12 years more now? 13 even? We're not the same, we don't have the same lives, the same, time to dedicate to the game. So, of course, the challenge here is to please everyone, to please the guys that want to play all day long if they want to, and that's what also MMO is about, but also the guys that have a bit less time, So that was the whole, mindset that we and NC had about that. There was also the fact that NCSoft, and also they came back to us with that explanation, is that for them it's hard to support many versions in different regions.
Oh yeah, right, because they already have their version Like it's
They have their
already
version in
2
Korea,
points-
which right now is going to be 3.0.
Oh,
with the new
2
class
points.
and
Yeah,
everything.
right.
They have one running in NA, and
And they will have hours.
for
So-
them it's like not really manageable if they have like too many different versions, because then it's triple the work basically. So of course at some point in the future we will catch up with their version, then it's going to be easier for everyone. But also their recommendation there was that we try to stick and not be too far.
Not be too far behind.
Exactly. So that's the whole mindset that we had and why we said we would go for 2.0.
Okay. But then we had a lot of feedback from you, from the players, that you really want the 1.x. Like, not everyone, but it's a huge majority. So I think we decided to take some actions regarding that.
Yeah.
So it won't be just a 2.0, right? It will
Exactly, because I saw a lot of people reacting to the 2.0 announcement. It has never been the intention to have 2.0 exactly the same as it was in other regions, let's say, or in Korea, let's say. It's easier to say it like that. There was always the intention on our side to have some stuff different, because we've also learned from the experience of what happened elsewhere.
So what kind of changes are we talking about?
So we basically poked NCSoft. Like on the day after we announced, I made a report. You remember? I made a 2 pages report about all the feedback from the community, from you guys. And we sent it to NC explaining that, hey, we have a bunch of people that would rather prefer have
an earlier version.
an earlier version than 2.0, which we can totally understand. I mean, you can have your own preferences, that's completely understandable. And then we got feedback from NC that we cannot really go back to another version than 2.0. It's for the reason I explained before, and because it's very complicated, but we already discussed and negotiated that we will have some adjustments possible. So the ones we can make, as it seems, it's not set in stone yet, but that's stuff that we are discussing with them right now, is the level restriction. So we would go for level 50 instead of level 55. So we would block part of the content. All right. And what else? We could also block Gelkmaros and Ingison, for instance. That's something that seems to be possible. Of course, we'll have to negotiate with them to check the dependencies,
To make sure it's possible.
blocking NPCs, quests, everything. But they already answered us that those were things that we could probably do. And
So
of course,
it would look like a 1.x content.
yes,
But
definitely,
still
it's
with the
like
2.0, at least the quality of life.
exactly
updates
that's
and
my
everything.
whole point. We will have the bug fixes of 2.0, even of 2.4. But we'll also try to mitigate a bit and don't have leveling that is way too fast, because that's what you guys from the community were complaining the most, I think. You didn't want people to rush to 55 in a couple of days and everything, which I can understand. It's honest point of view. So yeah, we are talking with them, and definitely if there is any opportunity to block some stuff that makes sense, of course, given your feedback and given what you can do, we will try to do it. I would like to say one thing also about that. It's like, I also saw a lot of people commenting about 1.2 is the best ever, 2.0. So it's also never that easy, you know, because you have people that prefer 1.2, people that prefer 1.5, people that prefer 1.9, and others 2.0. And
we can't have everything at the same time.
You cannot make everyone happy, that's for sure. You need to do what you think is the best for the majority, because that's how it works, if it's doable, of course. And that's what we will basically try to do with that solution.
With the changes, yeah.
Yes. In the end, I would say whatever version we go for, don't focus too much on the patch number.
Yeah, just
when we will
try it.
When we will tell you about the content, the actual
a
content,
bit later.
then you can see exactly what's in there. Because if we say 2.0 right now, some people will be, drops, blah, blah. But maybe our version will have totally different approach on some aspects. So, you know, we will come to that later in later streams about the exact content, not today. But don't focus too much on the number. You know, as we said already, we'll block some stuff that is not even supposed to be 2.0. So
next topic will be the date. When can we expect to have АИОН Classic live? When can we play it?
Yeah, we're not sure exactly about the date. So you won't have a date today. You will have the best estimation we can give given the advancement of the project, basically, from the АИОN team. So in the news, we said early 2023, right? So obviously it's not going to be January. Definitely not. Otherwise we would already have had more news, more streams and stuff like that. Also January is a bit early in the year. It's not the best month, but we're not ready anyway. So that's the main reason. We are targeting right now end of Q1, quarter one, which means, well, end of March.
First quarter.
So that's what we are aiming for.
So now we'll talk about the content. So regarding events, what will we have like for events on
So
this
events
version?
more or less for those that played in other regions, it would be the same as in Korea. I would say as a general thing, we would try to stay close to Korea. Well, for event definitely, not for everything because we will have stuff that will adapt as we said earlier. But yeah, for events definitely we should have the same stuff more or less. There shouldn't be a huge difference from we've been discussing with the Aion team, and so far it's like let's. I mean, it's not like we're gonna create events out of nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
We never do that. So yeah, for event side we can expect more or less stuff, and it's the same for the patches. You know, when we will get a patch and the next one and next one. I mean, the first one will be different.
Yeah, regarding patches,
but then
how
it should be
fast do we think we will? Because our plan is to catch up with Korea in the end. So how fast we will progress with patches? Like, do we want a fast progression? Do we want to still keep it slow and catch up in a few years? What do we plan about that?
We want people to be happy. That's the best answer I can get. So it means that it's not set in stone completely in our mind the pace we will go for. Like, of course, we have something in mind, and probably when we get closer to release, we tell you. You know,
we can have a one map.
But right now, also we'll observe. You know, if we see that people are done with the content, then maybe we'll be like, okay, it's time to release a new patch. But if we also see that they need more time to achieve the goals of a certain patch, then maybe it makes sense to push it a bit. We've also learned a lot about what happened in other regions in that regard. That some patches were like too long and people were bored and dropping before actually the next one, or eventually for some the opposite, like
it was too fast and people couldn't clear everything.
So that we have at least the feedback from other regions and from the NC and what they gathered there. So we want to make it specific to the European community, which means obviously we won't follow blindly what happened. It's not like, okay, Korea released 6 months after, you know, like 1.x 6 months after. We don't care about that. We will do it on own way, kind of.
On how you do.
So. It won't be completely erratic and random. You know, there will be a logic in it. But yeah, we want to adapt to you guys. That's what I can say about the pace. Yeah.
Okay. So still about content, but this time I saw already a few questions about that. How will we handle the shop? What will we have in shop? Like we already pretty much announced that we will have the Siel's aura and Daeva Pass.
Yeah. Okay, let's start with the Siel aura.
Yep.
Which actually is going to be called differently here. Why not? It's going to be called Siel's energy in our region. But don't worry, it's exactly the same system as the Siel aura from Korea. It's kind of a membership system, basically. If you're playing consistently every day, it's better to have it, obviously. You know how it works. We had a bit the same with the gold pack in the past. If you have it, you have more stuff. If you don't, you have a bit more restrictions after a certain amount of time. One thing I can answer already, because people were asking me, I think yesterday in Discord, it's not going to be tradable. People were asking me if the Siel aura would be tradable, like some gold packs were back in the days. So yeah, it's not going to be tradable, that's for sure. I can already say that. Yeah. What else? No, Siel aura, that's it. We're not giving prices today. Not because we don't want to, but because they are not fixed yet. We're still discussing what's the best pricing. As we said, in general, for all those features, they should be rather close to Korea. So that should give you an idea. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same for everything, but it should be rather close. But we are still checking some stuff, you know, like that's the natural process. You know, you check how many players you have eventually, or you expect
and
everything, and make a price, of course, that is fair for everyone. That's obviously the intention there. But as long as we have those prices and stuff, we'll probably have a stream like just for that,
Yeah.
basically, or news, but we will let you know. And we will not let you know 2 days before release. We'll let you know
Yeah,
as
we'll let you
soon
know
as it's
when we
organized.
know.
Right now, our shop people and game designers, they're working on all of that, like making plans, you know, checking the different options. We have a good idea already of what we want to do, of course, but it's not exactly set in stone. So I cannot give you a price right now for the Siel or Aion.
And so I was asking earlier also about Daeva Pass.
Yeah,
So we have that on Aion Live.
So Daeva Pass, same logic, quite close to Korea, but we are also checking for some stuff that got discussed in other regions. For instance, I think at release, there were like the possibility of having a lot of items that bring you AP. I'm not saying we will remove it, we are checking right now, but that might happen because that might not be the best idea at release to have those items. That would give a head start to some people, even though at some point it doesn't really matter anymore. But for the
beginning, yeah.
For the beginning, we are discussing like adapting this. That's something. For the rest, expect the Daeva Pass to have more or less the same contents. That there won't be huge differences there.
And so lastly, so still about the shop part, what will we have in the shop? Because we also know that many players asked that we don't add pay to win.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have,
so in the shop, yeah, but same. Again, I'm repeating myself over and over. I'm boring myself. I don't know for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be entertaining, but close to Korea, which means I have the list here: costumes, name change tickets, plastic surgery, candies, no XP boost or stuff like that. Definitely not.
So no fast progression.
But regarding candies, we are checking right now with NCSoft if we can make candies that are not sellable to the NPC.
Oh, that's...
We requested that and we are checking with them.
That's something that made a lot of noise too.
Well, that's why we were discussing that. So basically that's the region one. That you cannot make Kinah then by selling them. That's the main goal. So you pick up the questions from the chat and I try to answer.
I'll try.
That's daring.
So now chat, it's your time.
Let's see if I can do that.
So there is already a question that I saw a few times. And I don't really understand the question, but will players from Russia be able to play on EU servers?
We are not actively blocking people as far as I know, unless they belong to a region that we don't have the rights for, but I cannot really say about Russia in specifics. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. Our version is mostly addressed to EU players, so yeah, that's how it works.
As for gold packs, we will have the Siel energy, so we probably won't have gold packs.
No, there won't be gold packs. The Siel is basically the equivalent to some extent. It's not exactly the same system, but it's a system that is in place of the gold pack. So no gold packs on top of.
And regarding servers, will we have, how many servers do we plan on having? Will we have some language servers?
We cannot say yet. It's a bit too early to say. We're still evaluating, you know. We have number of people that are checking, you know, the potential of each, and at this point we cannot really say how many servers, and we cannot really say if there is going to be per language. It's a bit, but we will know at some point, of course, and we'll let you know before, as we said, for pretty much everything that we're not sure about.
Oh yeah, regarding accounts. So we said it will be considered as two different games. So will the accounts be linked? Like, will the Aion coins and everything be linked between the two?
No, you will have to create a brand new account, and you cannot transfer characters or anything from your previous account. Consider it as a new game. Server's location, because some people asked in the chat, I think. So I'm gonna take that one. Most likely the server location is gonna be the same as what we have for live right now. I think they are somewhere in Germany. Is it Hamburg or Stuttgart? I don't remember. But yeah, most likely
Köln, I think.
Most likely the same location. Shouldn't change much. What else? Wait, she's got something. Hackers. We got a lot of stuff about hackers, bots. So yes, as usual, you know, fighting against bots is usually a matter of having...
It's like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, that's true, and having several measures on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there is the checks that you make, the reports, there is the security system that you have. It's never one solution that's going to fix it all. It's a conjunction of little things that you do, and sometimes big things. And we are basically checking that right now from a tech point of view, what we can set in place. But we always have been fighting them, and we always will. That's for sure. Nothing will change there. And also some of the features, you know, you can adapt them sometimes so that it doesn't benefit bots. Like the candies, for instance, a good example, if you cannot sell the candies. Or some drops that you can make untradeable, for instance, you know. Yeah, we didn't talk about drops that much. That was heavy topic, drops. As I said, we might not have exactly the same drop as they had in 2.0 because they nerfed it a lot. And we are looking into this if we can make it different so that it's not as hard to drop mana stones and stuff like that. That's also something we are looking at. Definitely. Very important topic.
So there was also a question if players would be able to give Siel energy to other players. So it won't be an item that you can trade. That's for sure. But
you mean from the shop
to pay for other players?
I cannot really say right now.
Okay.
Because it will depend. Yeah, we need to decide, and it will depend how if it's actually an item or something that you buy on the web. You know, so that is still being worked on. I cannot answer at this point.
And yeah, please, in your question, I saw a lot of very specific questions. Keep in mind that it's like as we said earlier, we don't have a lot of details yet. It's more of a general info. So. Yeah, we won't be able to answer very specific questions yet, so...
I would like to say that there will be a written FAQ that's going to include all of this, but way more, around January, maybe beginning of February. And there you should have...
We should have a lot more details.
Most of the stuff covered by then. Maybe not everything, it will depend how fast we can work on stuff. But way more info, and it will be written and it will be news so that, you know, you can check it whenever you like.
There was also a question I see a lot. Will players be able to reserve their names at some point?
It is now not planned. I would say most likely not. I don't want to give false hope because it would imply creating a whole website for that, so adding more efforts on the project. So I'm not sure we're gonna be able to do that in time. That's probably a bit difficult.
Voice for NPCs. Will they be in Korean, or will we have European voiceovers for NPCs?
Korean voices. I'm checking my list because I know I have the answer, but I forgot. It's gonna be Korean voices, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about the Siel ore, right? There's something I forgot to say. There will be some sort of a free trial system. We don't know exactly how many hours or days or the exact details, but there will be, of course, since if you read the news from the initial announcement of АИОН Classic, we said you will be able to play for free. So basically, you will be able to try for a certain amount of time or something like that. Details remain to be completely decided 100%, but there will be a way to, you know, play without the Siel
before you decide to buy or not.
Exactly. I saw also the question here if there would be a beta or a PTS. At this point, it seems like we won't have that. More or less for the same reason as the character reservation. It's that it would put way more effort. I mean, we had a PTS before. We know what it is. It's basically handling a second game. So most likely, no, there won't be a beta or a PTS. That's, let's say, unlikely at the moment.
That question. How many languages will we have in АИОN Classic?
Same as for the servers, it's in evaluation right now. Okay. So cannot say yet. Probably beginning of next year, we'll know more or less exactly. But yeah, right now I cannot say exactly. It's not definitive. We don't have a decision on that.
Will there be pre-order packs, like founder thing, or players can buy stuff before the game is even out? And will there be such?
As far as I know, at the moment, it is not planned.
Okay.
To have such a thing.
How about third-party programs? I'm guessing that we will have the same rules than for Aion Live.
Forbidden.
So yeah, Daeva Pass, will it work the same way than on Live? So we'll have a free version and a version with more items?
I think it's exactly the same because the Daeva Pass comes from Classic. It
Oh,
was
right.
first on Classic and then introduced, well, first, maybe in the same time, but it was introduced on both, but it's a Classic feature, basically. It was created for Classic and then it was also put into Live. So yeah, the system is the same as far as I know.
Will there be a Kinah cap every day?
Usually,
think
as far as I remember, I mean, I personally didn't play 2.0, but I think same as usual, there is always a Kinah selling cap.
I don't.
The 2.0 update will change on the future.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
of
understand this
course.
question. Well, we'll have later updates if that's the question.
Yeah. At some point we'll have 2.4. At some
Then
point we'll have.
2.7,
Yeah.
3.0. Like
We will follow. We will not stay at 2.0. We will follow the same updates as Korea had. That's definitely the case. Maybe not the same pace exactly, but we will follow that. Yeah. And one day probably we'll catch up and be in the same more or less. And that will make everything easier for everyone, obviously, for them and for us. I mean, on our side. Yeah, that's the plan here.
will there be active GMs online in the game? Same as Live. So well, we had a GM event very recently.
Yes, we were there. When was it? For Halloween.
Yeah.
We were on the servers with the GMs, the guys from the support team. Yeah, they are usually answering your tickets all day long and helping you around, and also banning the bad guys because that's what they do.
Someone
Right
asked
idea.
if dredgion will be cross server, but then again, I think we haven't decided about that yet.
I think was it back then? I don't remember. Honestly, I didn't play it myself, so I cannot be sure about that. I wouldn't like to say stuff that is inaccurate.
But don't worry, every question we don't have an answer now. We will write them down and we'll try to answer them in the F.A.Q that is coming in January.
Yeah,
so
by then we should have way more details on many of the topics that we talked about today. I think today we give already a good overview of what we want to do there, and maybe hopefully reassure you on some of the concern that you have. Yeah, that's.
There was a question, I think this one we should be able to answer. Will we have АИОN Classic on Steam?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure of the answer. I'm looking at the team right now. Can you tell me? Yeah, Steam, I got the answer from the team, not confirmed yet, so not sure. Maybe, maybe not.
I think we're done.
We see you next year, next stream, we'll see maybe end of January or something like that. Thank you, everyone. Hope you are still motivated about playing АИОN Classic. We are. Have a nice evening. Have a nice dinner if you're going to have dinner now. I guess we will do that.
Yeah.
And see you
Totally.
very soon. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.